Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and I'm flying solo again. My friend Mark Overroyd couldn't make it this time. Actually, it's my fault. We were supposed to record this on Saturday, but what happened was my alarm didn't go off, and I missed I missed our appointment, and he didn't have any other time to film it, so I'm doing it solo. But it's going to be a really cool hot list. It's actually kind of an interesting look at the market. So what I did was I looked at restored comics and how well they performed, because right now the market is overall down compared to the heights of the COVID bump. But how did restored comics compare to blue labels? And that's what I want to look at. I want to see, you know, all the books are down, but how much did they drop compared to the blue labels? So you can place your bets. Which perform better, blue labels or restored books? And I picked random ones. These were all from the recent Heritage auctions, and we'll see how well they did. They're all great books, though. So the first one is I'm only doing five. The first one is Amazing Spider-Man #5. And this one is from 1963, October of 1963. It is the first Doctor Doom crossover. So outside of Fantastic Four, this is the first time he appeared in any book, and he appeared in Amazing Spider-Man. And it's a Steve Ditko cover. Now, this was a 3.5 restored copy that came up for sale on Heritage, and it sold for $444. But how does that compare? So I was looking at the peaks for the blue labels, and the blue label, for a same grade blue label, October of 2021, it hit a record high of $1,511. Now, recently, these Silver Age books, at least they sell fairly often, so there's always a recent sale that we can check. Well, the most recent sale for this book was $795 in a blue label. Well, that's down, and that was this month actually. That is down 48%. So, pretty significant drop. Now, how did the restored label compare? Well, the height that a restored label achieved was in May of 2022, and it sold for $662, which is pretty high. So this $444 sale is roughly 33% down. So it's 67% of the previous record. So about 33% down. So comparatively, the restored actually outperformed the blue label. That's just the first one. We'll see if there's a pattern. There are 3,107 of these on the census, and 2,700 of them are 2,703 actually are blue labels. So the next one, #4 on the list, is Avengers #4. No coincidence there. I don't know how that just worked out, that Amazing Fantasy 5 was #5 and Avengers 4 was #4. That was just coincidence. Not it wasn't planned. This book is from March of 1964. It is the first Bucky appearance in the Silver Age, but it's also the first Silver Age Captain America, and that's the big deal about this book. Just a huge Silver Age key. It's a Jack Kirby cover, and this was a 5.0 that came up for sale, and it was another restored book. They're all restored. It sold for $720. Well, how does that compare to the blue labels? Well, the blue labels hit a record of $3,021, $3,721.48. That was the peak in April of 2021. The most recent sale for a blue label 5.0 Avengers 4 sold for $1,850. So $1,850, and that was this month. So that is down by just a little bit over 50%, like 50.3% down. Now the Restored label had a record high of $800 in November of 2020. So if you look at the time periods, actually very similar time periods that I'm comparing. So we're comparing COVID peaks to current prices. And if you do the comparison, it's down 10%. So not much of a drop. So another interesting sale for that one. So there's 5,088 of these on the census, and there's 4,050 that are blue labels. Number 3 on the list is Fantastic Four number 25, and this is from April of 1964, and it has so many. This is a book, after making this list, actually it was on my radar before, but I didn't realize how many key things were in Fantastic Four 25. It's the first Hulk Thing battle, which is the reason I knew about it, but it's also the third Avengers crossover, and it's the second Silver Age appearance of Captain America, and it's the first time that the Avengers cross over with Captain America. So a whole bunch of key reasons for this book. And it's a fairly affordable book because, and it also has a Jack Kirby cover. So how much did this sell for? What was it? It was a 4.0 Restored that came up for sale at Heritage, and it sold for $159. Seems really affordable, actually. And how did that compare to the blue labels? Well, the blue labels hit a peak of $550 for a 4.0. And that's from October of 2021. And the most recent sale for 4.0 blue label is $285. So that means that from the peak of COVID to the current price, it has dropped 48%, 48.2%. So it's dropped fairly significantly, almost half. Now we compare that to the Restored. The Restored had a peak of $300, and that was from September of 2018. Now, this one is kind of a bit of a cheat because the time period is before the COVID. You'd say, oh, it's before the COVID spike. But actually, during the COVID, there was a Restored one that had sold for even cheaper than $300. So the 2018 one was actually a record, and it just happened before the COVID spike. But it's interesting. During COVID, actually had gone down for the Restored label, which was interesting. But the overall comparison between the height of this book and the current value, it's down 47%. So it actually outperformed the blue label as well. There are 1,600 of these on the census, 1,662 actually, and 1,498 of them are universal blue labels. So another slightly better performing, very slightly better performing Restored copy than blue. Number 2 on the list, and this is a really interesting one because this is Action Comics 252. And this was a 6.0 Restored book. Okay, wait, actually, before I should tell you all the cool things about it first. Wait. It's from April 30th of 1959. So barely, like kind of Atomic Age, Silver Age book. It's a Kirk Swan cover, and it's the first appearance of Supergirl, and it's also the first appearance of Metallo, who also dies in the book, so it's his last appearance too. So, first and last appearance. Yeah, it was it's a great book because it is the first Supergirl, and there's a bunch of things going for this book. One was DC. This is a DC book. DC books didn't really spike as much during COVID, And there's a lot of hype around this character because Supergirl was just in the most recent Flash movie, but she's also getting a movie of her own. So there's a lot going for this book. Uh, this was a 6.0 that sold, and it sold for $1,320. It has slight color touch on it. And how does that compare to the blue labels? Well, the blue labels hit a peak of $3,599, but it only hit that peak in February. So the most recent sale and the peak are the same. So yeah, it's at 100% of the value. The blue label didn't go down at all. It actually just hit its peak. So there's, if it went down from the from the peak for the 6.0 restored, well, then the blue label wins on this one. So the blue label restored hit a peak on January of 2021 for $2,290.75. So the blue label way outperformed the restored label because the restored label is down 42.4%. So that's a pretty big drop actually for the restored one. Probably somebody had overpaid for the restored one back in January of 2021. So yeah, so the blue label way outperformed the the restored book in this one. Now, DC books are generally rarer than Marvel books, and you can see that with the census on this one. There's 37, sorry. So 1,237 of these on the census, and 1,114 of them are universal blue labels. Next on the list is number 1, and it is X-Men 12. A very cool book. This is from 1965, another Jack Kirby cover, and it's the first appearance and origin of the Juggernaut, and it's the origin, I should say, of Professor X. So it has like a kind of double key going for it for X-Men. This was a 7.5 that came up for market on another restored book, and it sold for $384, and also has only slight restoration color touch. Now, this one had, in the blue labels, it had a huge peak. Its peak was $4,081.54. Huge, huge thing. And that was in August of 2021, sort of the height of the COVID bump. And its most recent sale was like a few days ago, and it was for $1,246, so $1,246, and that was literally a few days ago. Now, how does that compare? So that's down almost 70%, 69.5% if you want to be exact. And how does that compare to the purple label? Well, the purple label had a peak of $970 from May of 2021, another really high time in the COVID bump, and it is down, so it's roughly down 60.4%. Or yeah, so so one is, it outperformed the blue label. So overall, it looked like the restored books outperformed the blue labels, except for the books that didn't really get the COVID bump, which was the Action Comics one. Whether this, I'd have to expand this out to maybe 20 or 30 or 40 restored and, see how they compare. But I thought this was interesting just to look at recent auction sales for the Silver Age in restored and see how they're performing in terms of the market. The overall, these books are actually slightly up, even the blue labels, compared to what they were a few months ago. So there is some stability in the market. Things are actually improving. I know when I say, oh, it's down 30% or 40% or whatever, I mean, those are from COVID highs, which were just insane. They were just way out, outperforming what they should have been. These are much more in line to what these books should be selling for. So just a really great bunch of books, and it's interesting to see how they're performing, and even when they are restored. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope this kind of opens your eyes to the possibility of buying restored books. And thanks for watching. Tell me your opinion. What do you think about restored books? Do you think there is a potential that they can be investment worthy? And I'd love to hear your opinions. Put it in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.